Hey everyone, welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sam Popple, along with my co-host, William McClelland. What's going on, Will?
Dude, not much. Let's do it. Today is fun, and this is talking about scaling. I know this is an episode that a lot of people have been wanting to hear. I'm super excited. But yeah, I'm excited, man. How's the week going?
Oh, dude, no, the week is definitely going well. We definitely had some good talks already about the lots we're working on. So we definitely be having to give our viewers an update here. Probably wait a couple weeks to we break ground. That way we got like something solid to show everybody. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about today's guest, though.
Oh yeah,
so
let's do it.
Today. We're having the Mullet Man, Mike Hamby, on the show. I love someone who has a great trademark look and image on their, especially what goes on the business card. He's got that Mullet Man buys homes. So Mike's been doing this for 8 years. He's pretty much self-taught and self-made. Started off as a real estate agent, turned investor. He did over 100 transactions as an agent, and now he's done over 80. He's completed over 80 flips. With these past 2 years, him doing over 18 flips a year. So he's definitely ramping up. Super impressive. I'm really interested to learn how he does it. So without further ado, welcome Mike Hamby.
Let's go.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, we appreciate you giving us your time today. And I know our viewers are going to be excited to hear how they can get into flipping and definitely scale up the way you have, because so many people start, but not enough people make it to where, they're literally doing over a house a month. And it sounds like you've done that. So we're very excited to, hear how you do it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I love talking this stuff. This is fun to me. So let's do it.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. Well, I guess as we kick things off, I just found out that you have a mastermind too, right? So
yeah, so I started this mastermind at the beginning of the year. We were meeting at a coffee shop, around noon every day. And this is modeled after, I used to be a HomeVestor franchisee, and we used to do a mastermind once a month that was set up exactly like this. But we try to keep it between 5 to 15 people. Everybody gets 2 minutes to talk about their business, what kind of challenges they're going through. Really, I want to hear about if they have a deal to sell. I want to hear about it because pitch it to us and let's see if we can poke holes in it, or maybe one of us will buy it. So yeah, we've done 5 transactions within the group this year.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey man, if you ever need a spot, Clean Eats is definitely open to you on a Thursday. So you can definitely feel free to come host one there. Because I'm excited. I got invited by someone else who was going to it, and then when they told me it was yours, it was like, no way, I'm interviewing that guy in an hour. So anyway, just really cool because, like I said, I learned about it completely organically by someone who spoke very highly of it. And just coincidentally, it's the same day we're doing your podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, that's the way I want to keep it. Like, people are like, can you make a Facebook group page? And I'm like, nah, I got enough to do. Let's just make this invitation only. I put you on an email list. If you can make it, great. If not, we'll have 10 people there. We'll be fine. So
that's really cool, man. Yeah. So just kind of plays back to the fact of networking, right? And how this industry kind of works. Each episode, it kind of is a trending topic. And that's so funny that you just randomly found that out, Sam, and we're hopping on a call today. So Mike, tell us a little bit and tell the listeners, as much depth, because there's lots of layers of you finding out, I'll let you do it on yourself, but totally switching into different types of industries. But tell us a little bit about where you grew up, college, and then kind of what, brought you into real estate.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I went to Ohio University. That's not the Buckeyes. That's usually what people go for, but we're like the little stepchild in Southeastern Ohio. It's the party school. But yeah, I got a business degree there, and I specialized in IT. So I did that for a few years after college, and I sucked. I sucked at my job. Like, I just wasn't really feeling like I was contributing. And IT was not my strong suit. I mean, I wanted to be a manager. So I ended up just kept doing the job, and but I was looking for side hustles. So I ended up reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that totally changed my mindset. And within 6 months, I bought a house to flip while I was doing IT. And then after I flipped that house, I did all the work myself. After I flipped that house, I got my real estate agent license, and I quit my job. So I contributed that. Yeah. Within 9 months of reading that book, I quit my job.
Dude, that's amazing. I have a question. Was this flip? Had you ever owned real estate before that?
No, I was 24 years old.
So your first house ever that went in your name or your business was a deal.
Yeah, it was actually a deal that I would never do again today.
Oh, but, that's awesome.
At the time, it was just a proof of concept.
Yeah.
So, I convinced my brother to go in on with me, but we bought this house for $30,000. It was a 3-bed, 1-bath, 800 square feet. We did paint and flooring for $7,000 in materials. I did the labor myself, and then it appraised for $60,000. So we did a cash out refi, got a new loan at $45,000, and I was like, "Yes, how do I do this for the rest of my life?"
I love it.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. The first one, beautiful bird. How did you learn how to do the handiwork yourself? I normally go and ask someone, do you have anyone early in life that inspired you to get real estate? But now I'm even more curious. Did you have anyone early in life that taught you how to do flooring?
No, I mean, that one, it was such simple work. I mean, anybody could paint a house, and we had guys install the carpet. I was trying to do it myself, and I was like, I can't do this. But I think the only other thing we had to do there was install doors, and I did that with my dad, and we did a window. So nothing was crazy there, but I mean, to this day, I don't know how to do much of the work. I pretty much just know what it cost. And, after I talked to 3 to 6 contractors about a specific job, I can explain the job to the last contractor. I usually don't know what I'm talking about,
I think that's really interesting, because if I just go back a little bit before, when you said you didn't really feel like you were contributing when you were in IT, but you knew you wanted to be a manager, it seems like you instantly found your knack.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I love the versatility of, real estate. And yeah, so project management and flipping houses, that's what I've always wanted to do. Being an agent or wholesaling deals, that's just a means to an end. But where I enjoy is being the project manager.
That's really cool. Now, I think you had mentioned just really quickly that you were a HomeVestor franchisee, and that's kind of how you modeled your mastermind. So how do we get there, or am I skipping too many steps?
No. So yeah, there's a timeline. It's a slow evolution. So, after I quit my job, I became a full-time real estate agent for 1.5 years. And, I didn't sell a house for 6 months. And all I wanted to do was help investors find real estate property to buy as rentals. And that way I could learn from them. I was trying to find them flips or whatever. And it took me a while to figure it out. And then after that 6 months, I ended up selling 30 houses in 12 months after that.
Wow. Oh, man.
But, it wasn't fulfilling to me, because I was like, okay, I want to be the guy buying. So during that time, I think I ended up buying 2 or 3 more houses. And that third house is where I made a big chunk of money. And it was actually a real flip. The other 2 before that were just like my first ones. That was I did the only way it worked is because I did the work,
Sure.
But how do I find a deal at a discount that I can hire out the work? And that third deal that I got was that deal. And I had to bring in a colleague that I met at one of the investor groups. So I'm like, Dustin, I know this is a deal, but I don't even know what to do with it. And he held my hand. We joint ventured on it and wholetailed it on the MLS. And we made $50,000 total. So we split that. And then with that money, I bought into the HomeVestor franchise. So it took me like 2 years after quitting the IT job to make my way to become a Homevestor franchisee. But once I became a franchisee, that took me off the races. And like they taught me everything I need to know, how to flip a house, how to find a house. And then they did the marketing for me to the sellers. So,
really?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think I'd be here today without them. And it was a great experience.
Wow, that's awesome. Really cool. And then, no, that's cool because when we really break it down for the listeners, this all happened. Yeah, it might have taken 2 years, which still 24 months, that's massive growth. But you really did it on your third deal, right? So after you did a couple, that third deal is really, what brought exponential growth. And I feel like a lot of times I fall in the same category. We're listening to books, we're going to meetups, we're going to conventions, but we might just be that one deal away, and it's easy just to be like, oh, I can go back to my IT job or I can go back to my W-2, So I think that's a really cool story. I am curious, again, we are not affiliated with Homevestors, but we are from Clean Eats. So thanks to our sponsor, Clean Eats. So we're gonna say thank you there.
Awesome.
But I think this concept's really interesting, and I really like how you're doting on them and saying you don't feel like you would be where you are currently without that. Can you kind of speak towards that experience and learning from others who've already done something?
One thing I kind of wanted to highlight before that too, just for everyone listening, is that one thing I've noticed as my time as a real estate investor and working with real estate agents is that there's probably about, I would say, like a category of like maybe the top, I don't even know if I'd say 10%. I'd say top 5% of real estate agents I've ever met. And usually those ones are also real estate investors. But then you'll find all these other ones that like they sell houses, but they don't invest. Like they might own a home, but that's it. And, so I just want to highlight that, how many you sold in such a short time and went to investor. I think there's something to that there's a magic for a realtor that wants to be an investor agent, because like the proof is just kind of in the numbers that you gave us, like in how many you sold in that amount of time, and then how quickly you've scaled an investor. That the investor agent is definitely the way to be a realtor if you're gonna be one, because it definitely looks like it paid off for you.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that, as a real estate agent, I was on a team, and that's what allowed me to do so many transactions. And I definitely recommend, like, I've taught a few agents going like their first year in the business, forget about money. It's all about transactions and experience. So on my own, maybe I could have done 6 deals that year and made like 50 grand. But on a team, I was able to do 30 because they were just feeding me leads. And, but I did have to give up half my income to them to get that experience. So yeah, I made like $80,000 as a real estate agent, but I gave away half. So like if I could create my own business, then it would probably be more like 150 or something.
Perfect.
I would have made.
But just for the listeners, you're saying that it's worth paying for the experience and learning from people.
100%. I mean, your first year, forget about becoming a millionaire. Just get as much experience as you can and become the expert, and then go off and do your own thing.
I love that. That's sweet. So we've got a couple deals in the bank. You hopped on with a team, really scaled on the deals, went into Homevestors. Tell us a little bit about that journey, and what that did for your business, how you said, it's brought you where you are now. Because I know the listeners are excited to hear what all you have going on now, but I think we need to get to that point.
Yeah, I totally recommend Homevestors. There's a ton of other programs other than Homevestors that do something very similar. And it's kind of, I describe it as the college degree to home investing, or flipping houses. Because you can go to YouTube University and figure it all out yourself. 100% you can. Or if you go to like the Pig Group here in Pensacola, they have a class. So you can figure it out. With Homevestors, it was just like, this is how you do it. Follow these steps and you'll be successful. So it's like pretty much guaranteed that you're gonna figure it out. They fill you out flew us out for a week training in Texas where we had like class. And then after that, they assigned a mentor to us and then did the marketing for us. So it was turnkey operations. And then there was 10 other franchisees in Columbus, Ohio. So we all became very tight and would work together. And it was nice to have that little band to, sometimes you just want to complain because the roller coaster of real estate is very real.
Totally. So what was your journey like? You went to Texas, got the training, went back to Columbus, had 10 other people to kind of, stay tight knit with. Was there one specific deal that you want to kind of dote on or what you were learning through that process that you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah, I'll tell the first deal I did because it makes me laugh to this day. I mean, I was like 26 years old and it took me like 3 months to get a deal. I was spending like $5,000 a month on advertising and I got this one and ended up buying it and just closing on it and listing on the MLS. I literally did nothing to it. I made like $43,000 and I was like, I am the richest man in the world. I'd never seen that much money before. But that deals like that are such a rare bird. And then ended up, having to really cut my teeth on flipping houses. I think I did 8 the first year or something.
Wow.
But
you hit the ground running.
I mean, it's a turnkey system, and I think you could find similar results just with spending $5,000 a month in marketing, but they also taught us how to run an appointment, how to take a phone call, how to analyze the rehab, every little facet that makes me that much better than my competition is because of that education,
Sure. Well, that's really cool. So kind of take us through what it looks like on your end, because you said you scaled right to 8, so what, how are you, you're spending 5,000. We know that. And that's a few years ago too. So what does your business scope kind of look like? Tell us what life's like today for career side, the Mullet Man, investments, real estate, what you have going on, your deal flow, because I know it's through the roof. You're trying to scale multiple flips a month. You're still being able to help wholesale deals, kind of run through the customer journey of that business life cycle for the Mullet Man.
Yeah, so I moved to Pensacola 4 years ago, and I just moved purely for social reasons. I just wanted to live where it's warm on the beach, and the price of real estate, the median price per house is the same as it is in Columbus, Ohio. So to me, it was an easy transition as far as like how I fund my rehab. What's that?
Did you have people in Pensacola, or is that how you found it? You were looking through real estate and that's what drove you here?
Yeah. When I was in Ohio, I knew I wanted to move, and I just did research over the country. Really, I knew I wanted to be on the beach, so I was looking for cities on the beach, and I just looked at the median price per house, and Pensacola was one of them, but there was like 8 others that I researched, and I ended up visiting like 5 of them, and Pensacola just hit home for me.
What were the top 2 runners up?
Mobile, Alabama, and Daytona Beach.
Daytona, okay. Yeah.
But I did like this whole graph of like weighted scale of like, if I moved to Mobile, how fun life would I have, or how good a business would I have? And like the business scale, I think I could have crushed it in Mobile, but I did not I didn't like Mobile. I didn't want to live there. So that's why I chose Pensacola.
No, I think you made a good choice. As someone who has a restaurant in both the cities, I got one in Mobile and here. I definitely know what you mean. I like living on this side of the line myself.
Yeah.
I do like the lowest continental property tax. Like the only one that beats Alabama is Hawaii.
Oh, really?
And I do think that's interesting that you feel like there could be exponential growth in Alabama, maybe in excess to what's happening in Florida. There's a lot of positive things, but it's hard to beat no state income tax as well. So it all kind of levies out, you know. But that's cool. Yeah, glad to have you in Pensacola, that you landed here. So.
Yeah, I agree. Like at the end of the day, I think it's about happiness. So it's like forget all the business. Where are you going to be happy and just do it? You know.
Love it.
No, I definitely agree with that. It actually it's funny. So you know, I lived you know, I grew up in Destin and you know, lived there in Fort Walton for a long time. But I ended up coming over here to Pensacola because I like the prices of real estate. You know, so it was like I came over here because I wanted to hunt down deals and stuff. And that's actually how Will and I met at a pig wholesale mastermind. You know, so,
yeah, that's a good one. I did that one too.
Yeah. No, it's Pig's great. I mean, that's how you and I met, and you know, it's, I mean, it kind of, in for anyone that Pig stands for Professional Investors Guild, so it's something local we have here in Pensacola. But really, any kind of real estate meetup, people go, and especially, I mean, I don't want to say that the free ones aren't great too, because they definitely are, but ones where people do have to pay a small monthly fee like Pig definitely makes it to have a lot more serious people in the room. You know, you have people that are there that, you know, want to earn their money back every month. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about the business now. You got this great foundation. Really built the foundation, and then it wasn't even like step by step. You kind of just took it and ran with it. You were able
almost 2 flips a month now, or is what the goal is going to be. So yeah, how are you going to get there?
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, I sold my franchise, and then I started off with the brand Hamby Housing. We buy houses fast. And I did that for like a year. And the feedback I was getting from sellers is like, oh, I get 10 of these postcards every week, and I just happen to call yours. It's like, oh, okay, we got to do something different. And then,
sure.
So that's when I came up with the Mullet Man houses. I don't remember how I came up with it, but I was like, I want a mullet. So I was like, I'm gonna start growing it out, and then tested it out. And I talked it over with my marketing company, and they're like, you know, it's kind of unprofessional. You're going to ostracize a lot of people. You know, if somebody inherits a house, they're probably not going to want to talk to you. But I was like, let's just try it out. So we tried it out for like 3 months. The people who did call me thought it was hilarious, and they wanted to meet with me. So it was like, okay, maybe we ostracized 10% of the target market, but the 10% that enjoys it loves it. So it's like, let's just focus on them.
When I looked down at your card after you gave it to me, I got even more excited to interview you because of the branding. Because I'm like, okay, this guy's cool. Like, I'm ready to talk to him. You know,
yeah. Like people think they think I love fishing mullet, so like that's a conversation that we'll have. You know, so it's just a kind of break the ice kind of deal, and that's the way I approach marketing in general now. It's like
guerrilla marketing right there.
Yeah, forget about the product. You got 5-10 seconds to capture somebody's attention. How are you going to do that? And then afterwards, you can tell them about your product. You know,
now that 100% makes sense, especially in something like, you know, the We Buy Houses, you know, business. I mean, because like you said, I mean, there's 10 postcards in the mailbox, you know, all wanting to do the same thing, all planning to offer a cash offer, you know. So yeah, how do you get your postcard to the top of the pile? And yeah, dude, I think the branding is awesome, you know.
Yeah, it's fun. So I've been doing let's see, what do I do? I think I spend like $6,000 a month on marketing for direct mail, and then I do radio, and I do online advertising, and then I do something else. I don't know. I did social media for a while. I'm looking for a social media person to run my stuff now. My girl got sick and had to cancel, but
what's been your best return? You know, where do you get the most calls from, you think?
It's always direct mail. And every month I'm like, man, I want to quit direct mail, like, because it doesn't produce every month. And then like that third month, I'll get like 3 houses. So over the course of a year, it always makes sense. Always, always, always. And I can look over that every year. And so the company that does my marketing now, I just pay them a flat fee and they do all the mail and stuff like that. So we had a conference a few months ago, and it was really cool because every business had to get up there and be like, this is what I spend on direct mail. This is the return on investment I get. And everyone did that. And for direct mail, it was pretty consistent across the board that everyone's getting 4 to 6 return on investment on their direct mail spend. So if they spend $1,000, they're making $4,000. And it was just really consistent, you know, but then you got these guys that are spending $50,000 a month on direct mail. You know, it's like, it's the same. It's the same. They'll make $200,000 a month, you know, over the course of the year, you know?
Right. Wow. That's big time. That's exciting. So are you looking, is that where you're trending?
No. So things have kind of shifted for me. I had the worst third quarter this year of business that I've ever had in my 8 years. And it's just kind of like made me take a step back, and I went back to my roots. So let me think about this. Nothing's selling. I got 5 rehabs on the market that are over 70 days on market. And so that's why I'm like, that is my income. So I'm
why do you think it's the market's, you know, come to such a standstill?
I think people are scared about the election, and it is like as soon as August hit, school started, the election started getting very near. And if you look at the data, it happens every 4 years. But this is the first time I've actually felt it. And maybe it's just because I have so much inventory on the market, but it's made me kind of reevaluate things. So I've halted all my big spends. I'm about to drop radio. I'm about to drop direct mail, drop my online advertising. And I've switched to driving for dollars. And because that's how I found my early deals. It doesn't really cost any money. So it just costs time. So I've started doing that. I cold call, and then hanging notes on doors. I started buying these leads offline, and those have been working well for me.
Is that where you're getting the cold call list from, or how you building that list on who to call?
I drive for dollars, and then I put it in the deal machine, and then I call them. I just use my cell phone, and it's kind of been an eye opener for me because, like, you know, before I had an assistant to take the calls. You know, I'm spending $8,000 a month on marketing, pay the assistant $2,000. So I got $10,000 expenses every month. I've essentially, like, if I could just take all that out, maybe I do a little bit less deals, but I don't have any overhead, you know? So it's just been kind of making me reevaluate things and see where we go. So that's why you're seeing a lot more assignments from me lately, because my fix and flip inventory is not selling. So I need to drum up some cash and decide what I'm going to do in 2025.
No, that makes sense. I like seeing a pivot. I've definitely seen a lot of fix and flippers kind of either do what you're doing, where they, you know, kind of bring it back in because they realize they can kind of make just as much, with downsizing as they could, like with having the overhead of a big team, or they have to go the opposite way and just like really put a ton out there. But obviously there's a lot more risk in, when you do that. So I'm more of the conservative approach, a guy myself.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying right now, like controlling my own destiny. It's like, you're short on cash. All right, pick up the phone and start dialing. I've been listening to Wall Street, that little clip when he says that. You can't pay your bills, pick up the phone and start dialing. So that's what I've been doing lately. And it's really been rewarding. It's like, I'm never going to go back to get a job again because I just have to work harder and talk to more people and find a deal. And I put like, let's see, I got 5 deals under contract in the past 40 days. And that's without the market spending the $8,000. That's all just grinding,
Grinding. I love it.
That's about a deal a week.
Yeah, it's been hot lately. I'm enjoying it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So to put it a little bit back into perspective and just take a step back again, you said you had 5 rehabs that have been on days, trending in the last 8 years for the listeners to kind of understand that growth and why you're making a business shift. What's your average day on market generally with your fix and flip? And then every deal is going to be, what's your deal life cycle? Like from when you get it up and then boom, you hit the ground running, you close, and then you're either putting the team together to do everything to fix it, or relaying it if you're wholetailing, etc.
Yeah, as far as my personal average days on market, I don't have that exact number. I just know I've never felt bad about it as I have right now.
Okay.
And it is probably going to translate to whatever the market conditions are. Mine are probably like half that. Like I'm so used to my stuff selling in under 3 weeks that I don't even bat an eye at it. But now I'm
fast.
I've dropped things 10 to 15%. And so at this point, even if I sell, I'm barely making any money. So I don't know what else I can do. I know our rehabs are top notch. I don't skimp on my rehabs. People have been hounding me for that lately, but I've never done it any differently. And it's always paid me back, but now it's not.
Yeah. How do you fund your deals? Do you use all private money or hard money or personal money?
Probably 80% of my deals are funded by private money, just people I know. And that's literally people from Pig or however. And I just get to talk and they ask me that question. And that's how I tell them. I give them a mortgage, first lien mortgage position. And that's how they fund my deals. What was your other question, Will?
Yeah, I was just curious, on the full deal life cycle. So 70 days on market, but what does it kind of look like for you and your business? Just for people who might be really interested or want to emulate what you're doing, giving them realistic expectations. Like it takes X to get a deal under contract. Right now, you said it's hot, so you put 5 deals in 40 days, right? But that might not be this for everyone else. And then in excess, you've also had a lineage of putting $5,000 to $6,000 to $10,000 worth of marketing a month, right? So we have to keep this in perspective for some people that want to start out. Like you can hit the ground running, just like Mike did. And if you do, what does that look like? If they're all in, bought in, how does that generally flow from the time you're getting off the call, actually closing, getting things started?
So, and I'll go into a little bit more specificity here. When I say I've done 80 flips, underneath that's fix and flip, that's rental, that's assignments, any sort of real estate investment, where I'm the principal, I count it as a flip. So, but I'll tell you the life cycle for a standard fix and flip in Pensacola. Most of the houses I buy were built in the 1960s or 70s. So they need a rewire, they need a roof, they need HVAC, they need repipe. And then because we're doing a rewire, we got to do most of the drywall. So it's pretty much I'd say half my flips are full guts here. And it's just because insurance runs the show. We have to get everything up to standard for the insurance company. And it wasn't like that in Ohio. But so here, if I buy a house for $75,000, that's pretty common. It's 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet on a slab. Close it in 3 weeks, and then I usually take about 3 months to rehab it. So that's going to be gutting the house, doing the rewire, repipe, HVAC, and then we usually do the cosmetic stuff in a month or 40 days. So it takes about 3 months to do the rehab itself. And then, if I put it under contract within a month and then another month to sell. So you're looking at 5 to 6 months to get paid if you're doing a fix and flip, I'd say.
Perfect. That is I tend to ask these kind of more in-depth life cycles just for people per episode, for what, kind of sparks their interest. And I have to say that our geographic location, but that was perfect. I think it really, like, you always hear these people, oh, I got a deal and I closed it and I made 50,000 in 25 days. And it's like, well, that's cool, but that's one in the few. Like your very first deal, right? That was cool. That happened.
Yeah. But now that we got an average, all right. So what was your fastest flip from closing to closing? And then what was your best flip as far as like money you made?
Ooh, that would be a fun fact to know. I honestly don't know. I have all my profits in an Excel spreadsheet. I could probably look it up real quick, but
or if just one just stuck out to you, it doesn't have to be that detailed. But I mean, I'm sure there's one that was memorable. Like I've done not nearly as many flips as you, but one of my best flips was 92 days closing to closing, and then I made 40 grand profit on the other side. So that was like a home run. To me, my realtor actually sold it before I finished it. So. Picked out their flooring and paint they wanted, Nice. That was but like I said, there was some luck involved in that one. Like my realtor just happened to know someone wanting the exact house I was, kind of house I was working on. So I was curious because I'm sure you got a pretty good speed one, as well.
Yeah, the ones that are sticking out to me are like that first deal that I did as home investors, where I just buy it, clean it up, and resell it on the market. If I can make 20 to 40K doing that, I would do that all day, because every time I rehab a house, something wrong happens, and it's just like a conversation and stress,
No, and I actually love that, and I do want to highlight there's a lot of people who haven't heard the term wholesale, and I actually did that because I had a realtor partner on one of my deals, and that's exactly what kind of we did. We made like a 20 grand profit on one that we bought off market, and then just he listed on the MLS for us and got us money. But that's something I want to point out to anyone that sometimes you don't have to do a whole rehab, like especially if you do have someone with a license on your team, to go ahead and put them on the MLS, because that's definitely a great way. If you can find a great deal, that's a super great deal off market. Sometimes all you got to do is put it on market to make, a quick buck and not even have to pick up a paintbrush.
Yeah. And something I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, and it's like, what if we just did every strategy possible on every deal that we had? So it's like, you get it under contract, try to assign it. Okay. Can you make 10 to 20K there? No. Okay. All right. We're going to buy it. When you buy it, try to wholesale it. If it doesn't sell within 2 weeks, all right, now we're going to fix and flip it. If it doesn't sell as a flip, all right, now we're going to keep it as a rental. So at every point you've tried every strategy, and just whatever works, I don't really care. Let's just move this deal,
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that philosophy, because I mean, as long as you can, make a nice, nice clean profit on, one of the methods, I mean, it really doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's easy to do that. Like when you have enough leads on the off market stuff, like you need to turn this stuff over as soon as possible so you can look to the next one. So you're okay with making a little bit less profit, but when the leads are scarce, that's when I'm like, no, I definitely want to fix and flip, because that's where I'm going to make the most money. And that's way I've usually gone in the past, because I've never been drowning in leads. So it's like, to me, I know the times get a pass anyways, so I'm okay with waiting 6 months to get paid, because I know I'll make 15K more than if I try to do a wholesale.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. No, definitely makes sense. So what's sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to go off the wholesale thing. If you were running, like you said, you have lots of leads. You've never been low in deal flow or lead flow, at least. Of those 80 deals, what is the percentage, or how many have been wholesales? And is that ever really a strategy that you look in leads specifically for, or is it just if it happens, it happens?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty well balanced on like how I dispo a deal. I'm probably like 25. If there's 4 strategies, rental, assignment, fix and flip, and wholesale, I'm pretty balanced on everything I do, especially lately on the assignments. I've been doing a lot more assignments, but yeah, it's definitely, especially the ones that are hardest for me though, is when the house is in like great condition. And I know for a fact I could make 20K as a wholesale deal. I still hesitate because it's like the risk is there. It's like, what if that furnace is actually dead? That's 6K off. What if something in the inspection? So it's like, I always still want to buy it at a discount just to cover my ass on all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now for the listeners who are wondering, like, what's the CYA on that? Like, are you generally just trying to do a 70-30 rule with the after retail value, or how are you kind of structuring that when you're, hot on a lead and you're like, oh man, this could be a really great deal? Like, if someone's new to hopping on the phone, what should they kind of look for to kind of follow what you do?
Yeah, I'm very strict on buying houses at 70% of the ARV minus repairs. I've heard some people go up to 75%, but for me, I have to borrow the money. So I have that 10% in cost. Like if I'm buying it some at 70% of the value, my profit I'm projecting is 20%. I'm building in 10% selling cost, and that's going to pay the buying agent, the holding cost, my lender, title, and all that's just fees. So yeah, that's what I go for. And then I have a rehab estimate spreadsheet that has every line item that I would need to on a walkthrough budget for. So I can walk in a house and be within $500 of what I know the roof's going to cost me. And I have like 70 line items that I analyze a house on. So that's how I'm doing my estimates. That's how I produce offers within 15 minutes after walking through a house. And then I adjust that spreadsheet after every flip I do. So
okay, cool. No, that's really sharp, and that's good. That's good information. I think that a lot of people will, take a lot of value just being able to understand that. And when you said you pitch for private money, you're just really presenting the deals that you have, right? And then letting the deals speak for themselves. Is that how you've kind of structured it?
Yeah. So if anybody's ever referred me anybody, like a phone number and an email, basically what I do once I get a deal under contract, I write it. I pretty much display it just like I do my assignments, where it's like everything that you would possibly need to know about this deal to underwrite it. I'm putting in an email and I'm sending that to the private money investor. I give them a day to look it over. And then the next day I call them and we have a conversation about it and see if that's something that they want to do. So if they say no, I move on to the next person. I got 40 people on my list. And if all those people say no, or if they have money tied up, which is usually the case, then I go to a hard money lender.
Gotcha. Nice.
Well, so what's the next 12 months in real estate look like for you?
I think the to finish off this year is going to define my next year, because right now I'm like really enjoying this grinding, just driving for dollars. If I continue to have success with that, that's probably going to be what my 2025 looks at. So I haven't yet decided. I usually do a vacation every December and take like a week off, turn my phone off, and do goal planning for 2025. So that's when I'll decide on what I'm doing next year.
Cool. And then just curious, with those flips you currently have on market, is there a point where you'll just go ahead and like convert those to rentals?
Yes, I'm very close to doing that. We actually put in the listings, if I don't sell them by the end of the month, that I'm going to refinance them as rentals. So what's holding me back on just doing that today is because the lender that I'm working with, I'm like, all right, let's do these first 2. If that goes well, then I'll give you the next 3. So I actually just got the confirmation today that the appraisal came back appropriately. So
nice.
So yeah,
Congrats.
I'm going forward with those two. I was fist pumping in my living room early about 5 hours ago.
Yeah. No, that's it's been, I'm going through some refinances myself, and I know what a weight it is, like, when you got it going. So it's like such a weight off when you start seeing like light at the other end of the tunnel. Like, okay, they're going to cut me a check.
I'm curious. For the listeners, we had a loan originator on here. We've had a couple. And are you leaning into different types of cash out refinance? Are you doing DSCRs or with rentals, or like, what are you looking to do to grow that business with those 5 potential rentals that are coming in for 2024?
Yeah, I do DSCR loans, and I'm probably another year or two away. I don't know. I've always tried to not show income on my tax returns, and that bites you when you try to get a loan. So yeah, do DSCR, but I'm happy with it. The way I view rentals, it's really changed my perspective, is they're retirement assets. So I'm not trying to make a killing on cash flow. I'm just trying to have these things paying off themselves. And that is my end goal. So as soon as I get enough cash flow every month and pay off all my mortgages, that's how I'm going to retire. So that's my goal.
Cool. How many, or I guess, what's that monthly cash flow number need to look like?
So my goal is $30,000 a month in rental income. And then when I pay off those mortgages, then we're done. So like right now I'm at 18,000 in gross income. But I don't really consider that really any profit, because those have to stay in the houses and pay for the expenses, because they're all going to need roofs in about 15 years. So.
Sure.
I just approved a water heater for one of my rentals in Tallahassee right before this podcast started, because one started leaking last night. So
it's inevitable.
And I replaced one at my own house last week. So it's
not even to get into that story, dude. That was wild. Home Depot's a wild place, man.
Definitely. I'm actually going to give that tip to all of our listeners right now. That if you ever get a water heater replaced, definitely don't get a service deal through Home Depot, because you will pay,
or just not all together, right?
Yeah, you'll pay 3 times. You can feel free to go buy your water heater there. Just don't have their service department install it, because the quotes they gave me were astronomical. Actually, my rental today, I got so my Home Depot, they quoted me $3,000 to fix it. My property manager today for my one over there, so I'm not even going there. I'm not going to touch it. Someone's going to go do the whole thing for like $1,080. They're water heater, labor included. So it's whenever they said that, I was like, man, I wish I would have called y'all to fix mine at my house.
No doubt. So shifting gears back into kind of understanding where you're getting into that goal setting, and that I think that's really important. You take a week off, at the end of each year, probably to really evaluate how the previous year went, and then being able to shut your phone off and really take the time to see what you want that following year to be. Do you ever do it on a broader scale? Like what would the in game look like, or the lifetime goal, outside of the 30,000 a month passively plus the appreciation, or completely, paid off mortgages to retire? Is that the goal, or is there something outside of that kind of defines you or what you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, but for me, it's, I'd like to start a family one day. And so paying off those rentals would allow me to be like the stay-at-home dad if I chose to be, so like that's the why at the end of it. The why is for that future family that doesn't exist yet.
No, dude, I love that, man. You and I have so much in common, because that's exactly why I do what I do. And I don't even have a girlfriend, but I'm still planning for future family.
Right.
Yeah. So no, dude, I love someone who thinks ahead, so that's it.
Yeah.
Man, so one of my favorite questions to always ask people is, what was your favorite book or top 3 favorites? I know you mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But what were maybe that one, some other ones that you really credit to helping you get to where you are today?
Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I always recommend that to real estate people, but I caution people who have jobs, because for me it made me quit. And I don't think that's the way to go.
You're not the first guest that's actually said that exact tip on that. So
exactly.
I think the path would be a lot easier if you kept your job and like did this a little bit slower. But there's pros and cons to that. The other books that I would recommend, number one would be Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Like, I preach that to anybody that works for me directly. It's like, at the end of the day, if anybody underneath you fails, it's your fault as the leader. And that's the way I operate. So that's a really important one. And then Outwitting the Devil, I just read earlier this year. And
I love some Napoleon Hill. Yeah. No, that's a good one. I listened to that one on Audible. Napoleon Hill is actually one of my favorites as well. The Think and Grow Rich is one of my top of all time favorites that I really feel like helped me get to where I want. So yeah, anything about Napoleon Hill is good. And I mean, Jocko is great, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like all three of those choices, I definitely second your opinion on. Those are all great choices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. And then my favorite question is, and we've kind of chopped it up in smaller bite-sized pieces throughout the episode, which is great. But if you were just to give kind of streamlined advice, what would some advice you would highlight if someone wanted to do exactly what you do, but they were starting today?
I would say do one deal, and like, you're going to learn so much more on that one deal. Maybe you'll fail, but that's the only way to actually learn. I'm starting to like talk to some friends about like e-commerce and stuff like that. And I forget his Alex Hermosi. He's like, if you just make one sale this month and then repeat that, you'll be successful. And I feel like it's the same way with real estate. Is you got to do one deal, because like, you can take all the classes in the world and learn everything theoretically, but none of it is really applicable until you try it in your market. It's like, when I joined Homevestors, they gave me a rehab estimate sheet that was the national averages on what you pay contractors. It really doesn't mean anything to my local market, so you have to just do it one time.
Dude, do a deal. I love it. That's great
advice. Do you recommend, but prior to someone doing their first deal, do you recommend they go to a meetup and maybe, find someone to kind of, big brother with them, or hold their hand a little bit, to help walk them through it, where they have questions, or do you think they should just dive on in and, they'll learn from what happens?
100%. I mean, do all the research that you do. Just don't get stuck to where you don't do anything ever. And yeah, like for me, I totally recommend, this is what I did, is joint venture on your first project. It's like, but you have to bring the deal, because nobody's just going to want to give up their deal to somebody for them to learn. Like, you have to find the deal, and then somebody like me can come in and help you make money on it.
Dude, that's a key point for our listeners to hear, that basically if you find the deal, you can bring it, to someone like Mike here, or so anyone at an investor meetup that's, steps ahead of you. But like, Mike's a great person to bring it to, and he would help you with the deal, but it's got to be a great deal. So, just make sure that you're out there finding the deal, because, to Mike's point, no one's going to share a great deal with someone who can't bring any help or knowledge to the table. If it's your first deal, you're not bringing anything. It's the guy who's done the 80 and 100 transactions that knows what he's doing. So he doesn't need a little helper to come along, unless that new person is bringing something to the table. And that's the best thing anyone can bring, is a great deal. Because if you bring that great deal, everybody wants to help on a great deal.
Yeah. And I'll say, once you do that first joint venture with somebody like me or whoever, then you have the experience. It's just like what I said, being a real estate agent. The first year is not about money. It's the same thing with your first deal in real estate. It's about the experience. and then you can go do whatever you want and make the money later.
Yeah, that's a perfect way, I think, to finish it all out on. Do the deal, learn, and then make the money later.
Yeah,
dude, I really enjoyed this episode, kind of breaking it down, getting to know you. I've got multiple pages of notes. I loved the breakdown that you really gave for the Pensacola area, for the deal life cycle, getting to hear your story, how you just jumped ship, grew up, went to college, lived in Ohio, then came to Pensacola, and still crushing it. Like, that's the cool thing, so people might sometimes feel the same way. Hey, I want to get out of my hometown, but what do I do? I mean, you're a great example of that, of being able to just be successful wherever you're at.
I love that you just picked out cities and checked you out and then chose one. Like, to me, that's so cool, because so many people are stuck in their hometown. I mean, I didn't venture that far. I only moved over an hour. So it's really cool to see someone who just from a completely different spot, and it's kind of picked out a new location to start a life. So I'm definitely glad you came to Pensacola and that we can meet at Pig, and I'm super excited to go to your meetup tomorrow afternoon to kind of see how you guys do it there.
Yeah, great talking with you guys. I'm looking to do some business with you. So yeah, see you tomorrow, and then maybe we'll see you Friday at that walkthrough at the wholesale deal as well.
Definitely. Well,
you should go, Sam.
Hey, so actually, we're about. We need to. How do people get in touch with you, and how can people find out about that deal you currently have?
I would say shoot me an email. That's probably the best way. I mean, you can find me on Instagram, Mullet Man Buys Houses. But email is the best. It's mike@hambyhousing.com. That's my last name. It's HAM as in Mike, B as in boy, Y, housing.com.
Okay, mike@hambyhousing.com. So definitely subscribe there or check him out at his Mullet Man Instagram. But definitely check out, because you definitely want to get on his mail list, especially if you're interested in properties here in the Pensacola area. So it's a great way that if you're listening from somewhere not close by, but you want to be able to invest in Florida, Mike Hamby here is a great person to help you with that, where you could partner with him on a deal. He's obviously got several rentals. He's about to bring in into his rental portfolio. So definitely reach out to him. So that way, if you guys want to get any properties to add to your own rental portfolio here in Pensacola, he can definitely help you with some of those. And then, Will, where can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, man, just first check out eliterealestatepodcast.com, and then just subscribe to our newsletter. It's a great place to start there. You can find me on Instagram at elitereifl.wmcclelland, just like my name. And yeah, obviously tune in wherever you're listening to. We stream on every streaming platform. So whatever you like to listen to best, you can play us at 2 times as fast, so you don't have to listen to my voice as long. But what about you, Sam? Where do we find you at?
Yeah, you can find me at Clean Eats. So come see me at Clean Eats, or my Instagram at Sam_FloridaMan. So definitely hit me up on Instagram, or just go to the EliteRealEstatePodcast.com. But we appreciate everybody tuning in this episode. We love hearing from Mike here. We're looking forward to hopefully doing a deal with him eventually, but we definitely recommend all of our listeners to definitely subscribe to shoot him an email so you can get on his email list, so that way you can start seeing deals right here in Pensacola, Florida. So anyway, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we can't wait to see you guys next week.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.